Well, hello, you're hiking with Jenny. I am up north in the Zealand Ammonoosuc Falls area. I am here completing my hike through New Hampshire, which I've been working on over the course of the past 4 years. I've done all of the other little section hikes that you need in order to have hiked through the entire state of New Hampshire from south to north. This has been a long time coming and has taken a lot of planning and interesting routes that I've had to kind of connect all these together. And I realized when I did my Cohos Trail through hike, I did the AT, and the Cohos Trail connects to it. So I guess when I hiked the Cohos Trail and I met with the AT, technically I have completed it already. I thought I still had to connect the two down here, but I've already connected them up there. So what am I even doing with my life? I was able to celebrate completing the Cohos Trail, but I didn't celebrate completing my hike through New Hampshire at the end of my through hike. And that was just something I really wanted to focus on and give some more attention to, because this was no small feat and in many ways took a lot more planning and preparation and effort to complete than one single through hike. There's a trail that goes through the Ammonoosuc Falls, and it meets back up with a road that you kind of walk by when you're on the Cohos Trail. So I'm going to walk to the end of that road, turn around, walk back to my car. It's going to be 2 miles out and back. So that's part one. And then you're basically doing a hike along the Zealand Falls all the way up to the Zealand Hut is, I think, where I would connect back up with the AT. So that's going to be part 2 of this hike. So the purpose of this video is to not only show this lovely fall hike, but also to talk about my whole hike through New Hampshire journey that, I consciously started probably after I hiked the New England Trail back in spring of 2022, when I found out that the Net to Cohos was a thing you could do. And I had joined that Facebook group, and there's websites and stuff dedicated to it where people have come up with routes and even uploaded GPX files of the routes they took. I'll link all that in the description, everything I used when I was planning this series of adventures. But basically there's no one trail that goes through the state of New Hampshire. You've got your AT, which kind of goes through west to east. But there's nothing that goes north to south. Vermont has the Long Trail. Connecticut and Mass, they have the AT, but they also have the New England Trail. Rhode Island has the North-South Trail. Maine has the AT, which continues actually north of Katahdin to the Canadian border if you want to do the international AT. But New Hampshire doesn't really have anything like that. So you end up having to do a series of trails. So from the end of the New England Trail at the Royalston Falls area, you can continue north via the Metacomet-Monadnock Trail all the way to Mount Monadnock. From Mount Monadnock, you can do the Monadnock-Sunapee Greenway all the way to Mount Sunapee. From Sunapee, you can continue on part of the Sunapee Ragged Kearsarge Trail to, don't remember the road off the top of my head. From that road, you continue on like some road walking and snowmobile trails for quite a while until you connect with the Moose Mountain sort of area of the AT. So AT from Moose Mountain area to, you can connect it a couple different ways. You can connect it the way that I'm doing right now, which is the Zealand way, or you can connect it where I apparently have already done when I reached the presidential range where it meets up with the Cohos Trail. From there, of course, continue on the Cohos Trail. You don't actually even need to complete the whole Cohos Trail. You just need to connect it from the Canadian border to the AT. But there's multiple ways to do this trail as well. You don't have to even do the AT. People have come up with alternative routes to avoid sort of the traffic, quote unquote, of the AT through the eastern side of the White Mountains. It was really interesting hiking through all the different parts of New Hampshire, and you really get to know the communities and the kind of geographical features that are kind of unique to each area, but also how similar it all is to each other. I could say pretty proudly that I have hiked through this entire state, and that makes me feel pretty happy. It is part of my even bigger goal of hiking through each state of New England. So I've only got Maine and Rhode Island left. Maine, of course, I've got partially done, but I've got the international part left. And then Rhode Island, I've got the north-south trail to do. Some people want to be like the fastest hiker. I just want to like be really thorough and hike everything. I could see something like redlining being a part of my future, maybe. Redlining the White Mountains. Just really getting to know all of the trails. Alright, so I am meeting up with the Cohos Trail right here. I walked right by this road. I was coming from that direction. That's where I camped when I squatted on someone else's campsite. Just kept walking here. Banged a left there. Kept going south. And now I'm here again. Just met back up with myself. I'm gonna turn around now. I've hiked through New Hampshire. I've already hiked through New Hampshire. And like, I feel so silly because like it didn't occur to me until now. Because I was still thinking, oh, I gotta connect at this point. I have to connect the AT to the Cohos Trail. No, you don't have to do it that way. You just have to connect them. There's no rule about which trails you're supposed to do in what order. You just have to connect them. You just have to hike through the whole state, north to south. Doesn't matter what path you take. You could make up one if you want. All right, I'm at the Zealand Trail. There's a day use fee here of $5, and it looked like pretty much all the parking lots in this area had that too. So just, you end up doing this hike, bring a $5 with you. That's where we're going, on a hike to the hut. So it's 2.8. So 2.8 there, 2.8 back. Should make for a nice decent length hike and should be able to get back to my car before sunset. I'm already almost halfway done with the trail to the hut, and I have to say this is a really beautiful trail, and it's also very gradual. I'm guessing this is a very beginner friendly trail. Like if you were looking to do Zealand for your 4,000 footers, this could be a good one to start with, especially this time of year. I think in winter the trail does get longer because they gate off the road to get to the trailhead, so you end up having to walk longer. But even then, it didn't seem like it would be challenging to walk on. I haven't run into any other hikers yet, although I know there's hikers here because there was a lot of cars in the parking lot. So I'm guessing that a lot of people are probably going farther onto the mountain and everything. But we're pretty much just going to meet up with the AT and then turn around on this trek. The weather right now is like the perfect hiking temperature. It's in the low 50s. You know, it's not getting below freezing yet at night so much. And for me, this is the perfect temperature because I'm not sweating, but it's also not like super cold. So I can wear just like long sleeves, no jacket. On the drive up here, you could still see some signs of fall foliage, but you could also see that there's already snow on top of Mount Washington. So that was really pretty to see that. What you eating? Is that some bark? Is that some leaves? What you doing with that? Oh, you eating the bark off of the tree? You gonna use that for a nest? So I was totally gonna skip going into the hut because I'm like, I don't really need anything. I'm pretty good. And just like on a whim, I was like, well, you know, I'll just see if it's open and check it out and maybe show if there's anything interesting. And I go in there and there's just one person sitting in there, a crew member, and I just kind of glance, and then I'm like, wait, that person looks familiar. And I look back, and it's Maddie! So I thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail with a girl named Maddie. She appears a little bit in the toward the beginning of my videos of the AT. And some of you may know her as Gazelle, because when I knew her, she didn't have a trail name yet, but she kind of like was thinking about one, and then formally adopted it after we'd kind of parted ways. But she works at the AMC huts, and she formerly worked at the Mizpah hut, and she was the one that left me and Lone Star a bunch of snacks and drinks and stuff, because she couldn't be there to meet us. And then now she's working at the Zealand hut. I guess they're just finishing up their season though, so she won't be there for much longer. It's like their last week. And so what are the odds that I ran into her? Like, she doesn't cook there every day, but she just happened to be there. Like, I happened to be there on the day that she was cooking and working, and it's the last week, and she's like, it's probably her last season too. She said she's kind of gonna move on and do something else. So it was just like so great that I got to see her again, because I hadn't seen her since, like, the last time I saw her was I think at Chica and Sunsets down in North Carolina on the AT, which was like a year and a half ago. And like, yeah, that's the last time I actually saw her. Like, we texted, we kept in contact with each other a bit, and so I'd heard from her since, but like, that was the last time I actually saw her. So it was so great that I got to see her, because she might not be in the area for much longer. So I was like, holy cow, it just makes you think like, oh, this is not just a coincidence, you know? Like, things that happen like that. So that was so cool catching up with her, because it was like literally like just me and her in the hut. And so I got to talk with her for a good while and just get caught up, and yeah, oh, so great, so wonderful. That just brightened up my day. That's made this, I mean, this hike was already worth it, but I mean, that just put the frosting on the cake right there. Alright, just made it back to the parking lot. It's just after 4 o'clock, so I made good time. That was just the perfect amount of hiking, and it's not dark. Probably make a stop at Kettlehead on the way home and treat myself to some beer and food. It's like the perfect little self-date on my day off. Got to see a friend. Got to go on a hike, enjoy the nice weather, just perfect all around. So thank you for following along my journey. I put a link to a playlist of all the hikes that led to this point in my hike to New Hampshire. So check those out if you're interested. Thank you for watching, and happy trails.